Hey guys, I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V, and on my introductory video I mentioned that I've been a practicing witch for the last 25 years. Today I am changing over my altar, and so I thought I would share that with you. Today we are nearing the autumn equinox, which some Wiccans call Mabon. It is where the light and the dark are exactly equal, and from there on we'll be going into the darker half of the year. So today I'm going to be changing my altar over from its summer dressing to its winter dressing. But why do I even have an altar? Well, I use it for creating my spell works, putting my crafts on, using it as a centre for my power, but that's not the only reason to have an altar. I also use it as a little reminder to myself to keep spiritual practice in my life. If I'm walking past this each day, and mine is right next to my bed so I can see it straight away, it reminds me to keep that part of the magic in my life. It reminds me to keep a spiritual centre to the things that I do. And that puts me in a better mindset for the whole of the rest of my day. So this is my summer altar setup. As you can see, I've got a floral altar cloth down there. I've got my rose quartz point, which is swinging for reasons I don't really understand, and my rose quartz pointed wand here. I've got my bowline here, which I use to prepare herbs, things like that. I've got a bell that I use for energy raising and energy clearing. It belonged to somebody very dear to me before they died, and so it's comforting to have it on my altar. Here you can see as well I have a spell working for success. You can see a little sigil that I've got on there, and that the bottle is sealed with yellow wax. Now I don't want to get rid of that completely. It's part of my transformation, so I will probably move that to the shelf above my altar where I keep all my other bits and bobs that I use for witching, and I probably should have tidied that up before I did that. You can see on my altar as well that I have got symbols of the elements. So the knife and the candle are there to represent fire. You've got the bell and the feathers and the incense to represent air there. The black and the white candle, which really should be the same size, but I've been struggling to find black candles recently, so I've been using this one for other things. But they're supposed to represent day and night, and the goddess and the god, and the divine masculine and feminine that runs through everything. Here I have an egg spell that has been there since Easter sort of time, early spring. I'll probably move that out and move it into something else as well. I've got things that represent earth here. I've got my pestle and mortar and these stones with holes all the way through that I found when I was on the beach. I've got an ammonite there as well. That's sort of in between the water and the earth side, because I kind of think it's part of both really. And then to represent water, I've got this chalice that I made myself, some shells that I've collected, the ammonite. This stone also has shells and things in it. I don't think you can see very well. It is kind of a shell. And the goblet actually I got as a Twanta gift. I don't know, Twanta is like Twitter's secret Santa. It's run by Wombat37, who's a lovely man. And yeah, it was a perfect gift actually, because I'd been looking for a chalice that represented to me Persephone, and that kind of does, because it's got the beautiful pink colours, but it's also the skull, so it's like she is the queen of flowers and the queen of death, and she is one of my totem goddesses. I've also got in here just a little handmade rose that keeps slipping in, that was supposed to sit on top like that. And so I am going to take these things down. I'm going to wash the altar top down with some holy water. I'll give you a recipe for that later. Change over some of my elements and generally make it ready for the dark half of the year. So it was actually a little bit tricky to set up a shot so that you can see my altar. I don't know if you can't see things like my bowline on there. But I'm just going to pack this stuff down now, put a new altar cloth on and rearrange some things. But first I'm going to wash it, as I said, with my holy water. Some people call this moon water, that's okay. I like to use rainwater. I'm in England, I've got an abundance of that. If you live in a place where it's a bit more droughty, then any water will do. Spring water, bottled water, any kind of water. Even tap water. And I like to put in a little sprinkle of pink Himalayan salt. I use this only for my magical practices. Obviously you can eat it. I wouldn't, because I keep that one special for my practice. Sometimes I put in a little sprinkle of volcanic salt in there as well. Or sometimes just a little pinch of white sea salt. And then I leave this jar with a quartz crystal on top outside in the full moon to charge. And this water then sees me through until the next full moon. I add it to baths, I use it for cleaning, ritual things like this, and all sorts of other things as well. So I'm just going to pack this stuff down now, and using a white cloth dipped in holy water, I'm going to wipe down the altar, ready to redress it for the dark half of the year. These are the feathers that I use to represent air during the summer. I'm going to swap those out for a raven feather instead for the dark half of the year. Just little things like that. My bowline always goes on any time of the year, and so that will be going back on in just a moment. I'm going to pause while I clear all this off because it's awkward for me trying to let you be able to see it whilst I'm doing it, but I will come back in just a second. So now that I've got the altar clear, I'm just going to take a white cloth, dip it into my moon water or holy water, and then give the altar a really good clean. I'm going to let this air dry now. I'm going to cleanse the space with sound, and I'll be passing some incense smoke through here as well. But first I'm going to let that dry. As you may have noticed, that my altar is just a shelf. That's okay. Any little space that you have in your home that you want to make the centre of your power, you can go ahead and do that. And you don't particularly need to have any of the things that I'm putting on my altar for your altar to be effective. This is just what works for me. I'm going to set this up first, and then I'll talk you through it. Now, as you can see, I've gone for a really super simple setup this time around. I don't know why, it's just what speaks to me. I don't go for the same thing every single time. I've just got a couple of black feathers here to represent air, a knife and a small candle, not sure if you can see that or not, to represent fire, my ammonite and my chalice to represent water, and my two hagstones, holy stones, to represent earth. Can you see how that goes all the way through? I love that. Here I've got my dark mirror, which I made myself. I used that for divination in the dark half of the year. I've also got my crystal ball out. Why have I got all my divination things out? Well, because I believe that the dark half of the year is all about introspection, and this is to remind me that the answers to the future lie in the past, that it's okay to do the shadow work, that it's important to do the shadow work. I've also got this little stone here because I like that it's a mixture of light and darkness. Oh, maybe it didn't want to be on there. We'll find that in a second. But I like that it's a mixture of light and darkness, and that's why I keep my white candle as well as my dark candle on here all year round, because it reminds me that in the middle of the lightest part of the year there is a heart of darkness, and in the middle of the darkest part of the year there is a spark of light, and it will always be that way. One thing that isn't going to look symmetrical on my altar, and that is going to bother me because I like symmetry on my altar, is that I haven't left room for an offering, and I want to leave one for Persephone in the dark half of the year. So I've got this little cup here, and one of my children bought this for me. You can't see very well because I've got stuff in it, but it's got a lovely little pattern inside. And in here I have got dead crushed mint. I accidentally killed that mint plant from my kitchen. You're not supposed to be able to kill mint plants. They're unkillable. But I managed to kill that mint plant because I'm talented. Persephone likes dead, crushed and ruined mint because she once turned her husband's ex-girlfriend into a mint plant and then destroyed her. We love a jealous queen. And so I will be leaving this as an offering for Persephone, to say thank you in advance for watching over me over the dark half of the year. She is my totem goddess. There is more than one that I work with, but she is the one that is most speaking to me at the moment, and so she's the one that I will be working with this winter. So now, to make it more symmetrical, I've just moved these two candles apart and put my offering in the middle, and then brought the crystal ball to the front, That means there isn't any room for the black and white stone, but as we saw, it clearly didn't want to be on there this year anyway, so that's fine. I often believe in, like, if you're shuffling tarot deck and you're about to pull cards and then one falls out, that's the one that's meant for you. So the fact that I dropped it when I was explaining it to you shows that it's not supposed to be on my altar this year. That is okay. And that is my altar setup this year. Some years it can be much more elaborate, some years it's very, very simple. This is obviously a simple year. I just do what feels right at the time. Sometimes this dude makes an appearance, but he's not doing it this year. There's not enough space for him this year. It feels like I need a nice clear deck for this dark half of the year. And your own altar doesn't have to be like that, okay? And you can just have pictures of things that make you smile stuck around your mirror, or a little postcard that somebody sent you that made you feel nice, or, you know, an item of clothing that makes you feel fabulous folded up in the centre of the shelf. But whatever makes you look at a thing and go, yeah, I'm going to be in my body today, I'm going to be part of a spiritual whole today, I'm going to spend some time working on my internal self today,